Hi guys, it's me on this not so sunny, not quite as warm day as yesterday, but here in sunny Stockport in England and all that. So yeah, here we go as with the first of today's videos as we're on St. Lucia. As archaeological finds on the island suggest that the Arawaks kind of like settled on what is now St. Lucia between 500 and 1000 BC. As by 800 AD, migrating carriers conquered Arawaks and established permanent settlements on the island, and St. Lucia was outside the routes taken by Christopher Columbus during his 4 visits to the New World, and probably first sighted by Spanish explorers during the early 1500s, as Caribs were successfully fended off 2 British attempts to colonise during the 1600s and to be faced with French claims on the island a century later in the 1700s. As they established the island's first lasting European settlement, Sulphur, in 1746, and went about developing plantations as St. Lucia's colonial history was marred by warfare. However, as the British still maintained a claim to the island, and by 1778 the British had successfully invaded St. Lucia and established a naval base at Grosse Island, and Pigeon Island, which they used as staging grounds for attacks on the French islands to the north for the next few decades. And possession of St. Lucia seaweed between the British seesawed. It's that time of day. It's kind of like seesawed between the British and the French. And by 1814, the Treaty of Paris finally ceded the island to the British, ending in 150 years of conflict between the British and French over St. Lucia, as the flags changed a total of 14 times. So yeah, as culturally the British were slow at replacing the French customs, but it wasn't until 1842 that the French nudged out, kind of overtook the English. That English kind of nudged out just overtook French as an official language to St. Lucia, as other customs do still linger, as a majority of the people today speak a pidgin French patois among themselves, and attend Catholic services and live in villages with French names. As St. Lucia gained internal autonomy in 1967, and then achieved full independence as a member of the Commonwealth on 22nd of February 1979, as politics have stabilised in recent times, with election results coming in the form of landslide victories for the opposing parties. As a downturn of the banana industry has meant that the diversification of industry is vital to economic prosperity, but there's like slow change kind of thing. And for the legends, I'm probably going to be more about talking about mainland Europe and all that. As yeah, it's a bit like where St. Lucia potentially got their name, kind of thing, from like Santa Lucia or Saint Lucy, who was a Catholic saint born in Syracuse in Sicily in 283 AD and was martyred at the age of 20. Actually, it's like a considerably short life, but she's still celebrated in different parts of the world 2,000 years later. But a few facts known about her life and death. There are several stories and legends that have developed over the years, as they all pretty much start in the same way, in that Lucia was born into kind of like a wealthy Sicilian family, and like at the time Christian persecution was still there, as Lucia vowed at a young age to live a life in the service of Christ and all, as Lucia's mother attempted arranged marriage for her daughter to a pagan man, and when she refused, the angry the suitor reported to the Roman authorities, and Lucia subsequently was sentenced to life in a brothel and forced into prostitution. As staunchly loyal to the faith, Lucia benefited from divine intervention. When it came time for her to be placed in a brothel by Roman guards, she became immovable, as it was as if she had turned to stone, and the guards could not move her. As the soldiers then built piles of wood around her in an effort to burn her alive, and Lucia was untouched by the flames and supposedly survived the inferno, but ultimately met her death when she was stabbed through the neck with a sword. And the news of Lucia's defense of Christianity spread quickly, and she became one of the earliest Christian saints to achieve popularity, as it would make sense for her to be venerated in Sicily, Rome, and throughout the rest of Italy, but somehow became venerated in Sweden. And just like with the story of Lucia's life and death, no one's absolutely certain about how the legend of Santa Lucia made it to Sweden, but since the late 1800s, December the 13th was assigned as the feast day of Santa Lucia, and is widely celebrated throughout the country. And there is speculation that the stories of Lucia's bravery were brought to Sweden by traders, possibly even by the Vikings after the journeys to southern Europe. And another explanation has to do with the name Lucia, which is derived from the Latin word of lux, meaning light, and it's believed that Lucia and her feast day were adopted as a way of to let in sunlight at the beginning of the dark, cold and Swedish winter, as today can involve the eldest daughter of the family dressing in long white robes with a red sash around the waist, along with a crown of fresh greens and lit candles worn on her head, as it's said that the after lady rises for the rest of her family, and serves in traditional lusciata or Lucia buns and coffee, and in many villages and towns across Sweden, whereas Lucia processions and concerts and celebrations signify the beginning of the Christmas season. IJ has kind of reached to America as well, as you can attend attend masses and see a statue of Santa Lucia, where she's holding a gold plate with a pair of eyeballs placed upon it, which kind of stems from another legend. As you can sing songs that kind of stem from Italy. And yeah. So yeah, that is St. Lucia for you. So yeah, bye for now, and I'll see you very shortly for the second of today's videos.